Hey, good morning. Good morning, Roy.
Morning.
We already said good morning. That was just for the camera. This is Rob Shoecraft, 3 Storm Fitness, and this morning I'm going to do a workout that I've done a few times in the gym, specifically a back and biceps workout for somebody with golfer's elbow, right? Medial epicondylitis. I've made a series of videos in the past, kept it under control pretty well, but it's been flaring up lately despite my best efforts. So I still want to get a pretty good workout for, obviously, back and biceps are grip heavy exercises, which really cause a lot of trouble with this part of the elbow. So I want to do I want to get a pretty good pump going without flaring up the elbow. So I'm going to show a couple tricks that I use. Namely, we'll be using these knockoffs of the Prime ROT8 handles. I don't even know, Kroc I think makes them. It's just like a shameless plagiarism of Prime, but I bought them because they're literally 5 times cheaper. 4 times, sorry guys. I'm going to be using things like straps, just classic lifting straps. These are Harbingers, and I don't know what brand this is, but these are like occlusion training to, cut off your circulation and cause edema and all sorts of good things like that. We'll get to that later. That'll be for biceps. By the way, this whole workout, I'll put it in the description if you're interested in following along or just getting a better look at what we're doing. We're going to do about 5 exercises, and again, mainly just targeting the back and maybe a little bit of rear delts and biceps and forearms. Okay. I got this rigged up here. This is a Spud Inc. Pulley system. I've done a review on this before. This is a Spud Inc. lat saw. I did a review on this before as well, and where I talked about instead of swapping out the Spud handles for Prime handles, I really like them. So we're going to start with like a Lat Pulldown kind of hybrid. It's not a true vertical pull down. So I've been doing this, like I said, the past couple times in the gym, like a proper gym, Fit Culture. Check it out sometime. And I want to I haven't done this workout in here, so I'm going to be trying to like work up to my numbers a little bit, kind of find the sweet spot. I'm looking to like maybe the 8 to 10 to 12 range, and then we'll throw about 3-4 sets on top of that. I've been doing 4 sets I think I'm up to like 4 sets of 8, but the numbers are all different because it's different equipment. So again, I'm calibrating here a little bit. All right, so put my feet on here, and this is kind of pulling it like an angle a little bit, rather than like a true vertical pull. We'll go, let's see what 10 feels like. Pretty good. So butt's coming up a little bit, not that big of a deal, but I got my feet pressed against the frame here, and again, I'm really focusing on, sometimes when I'm going real heavy and my elbows are healthy, I'll kind of add a little jerk to it. We'll do a little bit of that in a later exercise, but I want to get nice, smooth contraction. I'm just focusing on driving my elbows back and making my chest big, right? So elbows back, just focus on that, get them back as far as you can with the squeeze, bring it back with a big stretch at the top. At no point throughout this range of motion do I want any slack. So I'm gonna go all the way out and then kind of just bring it out a little bit just to stretch the lat and all this other junk back here. And then I'm gonna catch it again, re-engage it, and come back in, driving those elbows through, okay? So it's not an ego lift. It's just strict going after the proverbial pump. Waiting about 3 minutes between sets. Now I want to do something between sets. So what I'm going to do is something that's going to directly help the issue that I'm currently dealing with. So I got these rubber bands. These are not special rubber bands, they're just something you buy like Staples, right? Put them on the cuticles. This is a nice old school little trick, and I'm just going to extend my elbows, expand, and just make like I'm like freaking Doctor Strange or David Lopan or something, casting a spell, right? I'll do about 10 of these in between sets, each set. And what that's doing is just strengthening all the extensors in the forearm, including, which kind of just, I don't really know exactly what it does, releases the gunk that causes this issue in here, right? So I'm just gonna kind of try to strengthen myself while I'm working around a overuse injury, okay? What's up, punk? All right, so in this last set, I'm doing 4 sets. I want to mention I got a chain at the bottom. See that little chain under there? It's just a nice little trick to, when you got this thing, especially if you're going like really, you know, putting English on it, the thing tends to swing. I'm doing pretty strict form right now, like in terms of just nice and control. I talked about that, but it does still swing a little bit. So that chain kind of keeps it anchored at the bottom when it's at the top. This last set here, I'm gonna go for about 10 until my forearm breaks down. And then I'm going to strip off 2 of these guys, do a little drop set, all right? Maybe shoot for about 8 to 12 more, just see how that feels. I'm going to close to failure. I found that when I go to like absolute failure with anything grip oriented, my grip starts my discipline kind of starts falling off, and I put more into it, and it just causes more flare up. So I'm trying to avoid that. It's not that big of a deal if I'm coming close to failure rather than going to absolute, you know, drop the weight, fall apart and puke failure, right? Which is, you know, it's time and place for that, just not today. All right, so let's do this set of about 10. Then I'll put a bar on the lowest setting, and I'll have it come over my hips with like a pad on it, and then it basically keeps me in place like a, you know, traditional lat pull down. I don't have that set up here, and like I said, it's sort of insisting, the discipline is sort of insisting on itself here. That's what I'm after. So I just got to keep my core tight, keep my feet pushed against these hundreds here. Okay, here we go. Drop off a little bit. Shoot for about, I don't know, just keep going. I'm gonna really focus on the stretch here since I got a little less weight. Just kind of searching around for tension. Kind of trying to create some. So when I was up here, I was really just trying to kind of, you know, you can't really see it, you kind of gotta be in my head, but I'm sitting there and I'm kind of locking my lats and driving my armpits kind of into the bar to really engage. So when I come down, it's all lat, or at least as much lat as I possibly get. One of those things that doesn't make you look like a hero, but you feel like one, right? All right, let me do my little band opening things. About 10 of these. So by the time this is all over, If I do 10 of these between every set, I get about 4 sets per 5 workouts. It's about 200 extensions, right? Volume adds up. It's not so much that it's going to cause me new kind of injuries. It's just good, healthy work that I often neglect. This next exercise, now this one I set up the other day to kind of try to mimic sort of like a T-bar row slash a cable, basically a traditional seated row. And this is kind of a hybrid of them, featuring, of course, hammock straps. I got these labeled down here just so I know where I want to put it, so I don't have to fool around with it and calibrate it. I got these, just some nylon straps you could use for literally anything. I talk about those ad nauseum. And I got a Ironmaster super bench here. And this is going to be the chest supported feature of this. I got to dial in my range of motion a little bit on this. We'll see how this feels. Yeah. I got, of course, hammock straps set up so that the weight is already there. Like there's tension on the barbell already instead of hanging them from here. Talked about that in the last press video that I did, using these, kind of going after machine press. Now, I got these little motorcycle tie-down straps connected to these RO8, I probably should call them ROT8 handles. We'll call them, I'm gonna call them Coco Beware handles. All right, so I'm gonna get into this. And I'm gonna be doing kind of rotating into a supinated grip. That's one thing I love about these handles, is they go with you, which is really nice on the elbows. They move with you and they rotate and do all sorts of fun stuff, all sorts of three-dimensional movement, okay? So I'm gonna sit back into here. And I'm just, again, driving with the elbows back. And I'm trying to kind of hit my lower lats. Big stretch. Probably put a little bit more weight on there. But yeah, those feel great. So on these you got to use, well, at least for this version of it, the one I just made up, you got to use 25s. Should be kind of obvious reasons. But so if I put this up higher, if these were, let's say I put 45s, or I just had it up, about 4 inches on here. It's going to be hitting more of the upper back, which could be a great exercise, just not really what I'm looking for right now. So that's why I got to get these so low. And again, the chest support, I could take this thing completely out of the picture and just kind of come over like a traditional bent over row style. But I want to take it off my lower back. I really just want to, again, I'm just trying to dial in the, the proverbial pump, the mind muscle connection back there. It really helps to have a chest support or foot support or something, so you don't have to stabilize yourself. There's a time and a place for that, just not what I'm after at the moment. If I come back into my gym in here, I need to know exactly what I did, right? And I'm not gonna remember, I'm using I'll use things, 8 on the hammock strap, hole 6 from the front on the bench, at the second tape mark, right? I need to write all that stuff down so that when I come in here and I gotta get this done in 45 minutes and I'm at home, I don't wanna spend 15 minutes setting it all up again. I just can't stress how important it is to write everything down. It's a habit I developed working with computers and stuff when I might have to do something once every 2 years. It takes me 4 hours to remember how to do it, 30 minutes to actually do it, right? So, save yourself that 4 hours or 4 minutes or whatever it is. Write your stuff down. Just do that in life. It'll just make you a better human, less annoying. All right. Another thing is, when you're using all these kind of I mentioned this thing weighs 10 or 15 pounds. You might think, well, man, you gotta know how much it weighs so you can put it in your logbook, right? Well, no, you don't really. As long as you are consistently, if the implement changes, then you do. But if this is a given, right? So no matter how much, if this weighs 1 pound or 300 pounds, as long as I do the same exercise, I'm just accounting for whatever additional weight I use. you might think that doesn't need to be explained, but I get that question a lot. Like, well, how much do you know how much a landmine is? Like, what, it's interesting stuff to know, but when it comes to just knowing whether or not you're making progress, you don't have to know those details. You just got to know the one thing that's changing, which is usually the number of plates, right? Add a little bit of weight to the bar since our last visit. This is kind of annoying, but it's not that bad. Basically, I set this up so that I could get the max reach at the end of the rep. Only problem with that is you got to reach over to start it, right? Not that big of a deal. So I'm kind of bringing my chest up a little bit so that I can hit just the lower lats just a little bit more. It's kind of feeling, a lot of it's just by feel. I was losing a little bit of range of motion at the end. Not quite getting my elbows back enough, so that's all right for a rep or two, but yeah, I think 10's good. So I'll do one more drop set. Once I finish this, I'll try to get 10 more. Strip off 25 on each side and just really, again, trying to feel the range. Not too concerned with reps on this drop set. More meathead talk, you know. All right, now I'm going to get a little bit meaner, a little bit more, a little bit more ragged, questionable with my form here. I like to kind of go and attack the bar sometimes, and I found that what I'm about to do with these, this is like a combination of like Meadows rows, Kroc rows, and like single arm Pendlay rows, if there is such a thing, where I'm going to wrap this sucker up using these straps. These are just Harbinger lifting straps, nothing fancy. Wrap this sucker up, and I'm just gonna bang out probably 8 to 10. You know what? Let's throw another 25 on there, Roy. And I'm just gonna, you'll see me, I'm gonna kind of cheat it up a little bit, but I'm giving like a false grip around the bar, and when I bring it down, I'm gonna get like a full reach, but I'm not gonna completely let the slack go, and I'm just gonna kind of pop it up, and I'm bringing it up right around this range, as if, again, like a Pendlay row, where I got that thing fully extended, and I'm just gonna explode off the floor, right? I'm just getting that jerk motion, right? So it's kind of a little bit of a power move. You'll see what it is. But it's a little bit of a departure from the strict kind of pump chase I was after with the first two exercises. So, real explosive, right? I'm just kind of driving just a little bit, pulling off, not bouncing really, but kind of using my leg to drive. I've done this before, put my hand on a bench or something. It doesn't really matter too much, I don't think so anyway. I do like kind of the open stance because it allows me a little bit more correction on the fly if I need it. I've done these before with like the gnarly handles. This makes it easier when you're healthier, right? When your elbows are not flared up and whatnot. Thing is though, and by the way, I would put it on here and do it off of this. It's great. It's a great exercise. The thing is, because I can get my hand around it more, it tends to, this is a bit of bro science here, but it tends to engage these fingers here, which seem to be linked down here. So even though it's an easier grip, so to speak, it's a little bit targets the thing that aggravates that area. So I found that with this false grip, I'm able to, use the straps, keep it in place, and get a very similar grip to what I was doing with the RT8 handles. And yeah, you might be thinking, could you just use the RT8 handles? There's probably a good way to do that, and you could hook these up and do like traditional landmine rows. But the range of motion, there's gonna have to be a chain and stuff. I'd have to be like up higher or have this down lower. It'd just be a pain. It's not what I'm after, right? This is easy to set up. Like, set this up in really 10 seconds if you wanted to, and they're great. I mean, this might be one of my favorite back pulling exercises. It is. I mean, I love things that allow you to kind of just get mean with the weight and just attack it. I need that every now and then. And I found that even though it looks like I might hurt myself doing this, I haven't even come close to it. Like, I got enough support with this elbow and my back feels pretty safe. As long as I got a pretty good form, I think, for what I'm doing. So I've never really pulled my shoulder, even though it looks like you would. If you haven't tried these before, they're wonderful, man. And they hit your rear delts a little bit for sure, but they hit this whole area back here real well. And then if you're not using these, you get a killer grip and the brachialis, all that stuff. Honestly, you could just do these and probably get really strong for a while. You could do these any angles, all right? Experiment with it. It doesn't have to be hard. Just think about how often does a human being do this throughout the day, yet all the time we're doing this or this or this or whatever. Very rarely are we doing any sort of extension, and I'm guilty of that myself. So, I'm gonna give Rory a hard time for not reminding me to do these. It's his responsibility as the cameraman to also do my workout programming. But it's just really important to do that. I think a lot of the reason is, for injury, especially overuse injuries like this in my case, is asymmetrical imbalances, right? Heavy on this kind of movement, but not on this kind of movement. So that's what we're after there. All right, I'm gonna do some farmer carries next. I'm gonna use these Ironmaster Quicklocks. These Ironmaster, these things are great. They're kind of a pain to change if you compare them to, having like a full set of like a $16,000 set of dumbbells just ready to go. But I don't have that. I'm glad I have these. So we got, let's see, 55, 65, 75, 85, 95, 105, 115, 120. Okay, boom. So I'm gonna load this up. And this is kind of like gonna be like a timed exercise. Sort of borrowing from, I think a Joe DeFranco workout I did a long time ago with farmer carries for time. Where you load up about 50% of your body weight in each hand. And you just walk as much as you can in a certain amount of time. And you track how much you did. You try to beat it next time, right? It's not difficult. You try to beat it next time, or if you do beat it, you can add another minute or add more weight. All right, just pick one, right? Pick a variable and make it harder. Again, I have golfer's elbow. Well, this is really gonna aggravate it, right? A little bit. That's why I'm doing like 5 minutes. 5 minutes is enough. These suck, right? But I'm going to use straps too, okay? And so I'm going to set the clock for 5 minutes. I'm just going to do a lap, come back, put it down, take a few deep breaths, pick it up, and just keep going. We'll see where that puts us. Now the reason I'm doing these on like a back and biceps day is because it kind of works everything. I think these are one of the most unsung biceps exercises. I pretty much never work my biceps. It's at the summer and I'm going to the beach and that whole thing. So I thought I'd get some direct sets in. I will do one at the end. It's a legit bicep workout or exercise. But these, I think, do just as much for your biceps as anything, especially as we consider most people don't do them. And if you just think about what your arms are, what your biceps are made for, it's just, biceps and upper back are just made for just consistent volume. Like Rory is half farmer, he just told me, and he was like moving like actual hay bales the other day, right? And nothing makes your veins pop out like carrying stuff, right? So if you want like that vascularity in your biceps, I tell you, there's really something to it. That's why gymnasts like climb ropes and everything. They're not doing like strict curls. They're, just that constant kind of isometric heavy tension. I really think there's something to that. So carries are good for a bicep day, and they're great for a back day when you consider the traps on the upper back. Okay, that's enough talking about it. I should probably do it. All right, guys, so this last exercise I'm gonna do, we're just gonna hit the biceps directly. That's all anybody ever cares about anyway, right? Bicep exercises, almost all of them, maybe the exception of hammer curls, just really aggravate this area here. So I need to get a way to not put a lot of strain on the area while still getting a nice direct. By the way, you don't have to do bicep curls. Like, I never do them. I'm almost just doing them just because I never do them, Like, I'm just seeking the novelty in them. If you do a lot of rows and pull-ups, which are my favorite, it's killing me I can't do those right now. But you're gonna hit your biceps quite a bit. That being said, it is fun to hit them now and then. I'm using these bands here. I've used like tourniquets in the past, like literal like hospital tourniquets. Which can be a little dangerous. And what we're doing is like the occlusion training. So I got these off of Amazon. They're called BFR bands. I don't know what BFR stands for. I used them one time last week. They're pretty cool. You want to get this to about where you can put a finger in, but where you don't want it so tight that it's extremely tight. Because what could happen is you could get like pooling in your, what do you call it, edema, I think is what it's called, where, I don't know exactly what it is, but basically it could be bad. Just don't do it. Don't make it too tight, but you want to be pretty tight. So I found, feels good for me on an 11. So I got these little numbers here. So I'm gonna put this to 11, and I'm gonna put it right between where my shoulder and my biceps meet. So I still got, I can get my finger in there, but it's pretty tight. I start to get a little, you can start to take my blood here if you want to get a little Ultimate Warrior going on. Now, so you don't go heavy on these, right? That's the point. So I'm using 15s here. Maybe that's heavy for you, maybe it's not, whatever it is. It's not heavy for me regularly, but it's gonna get real heavy and real nasty. I think one of the sickest exercises you could do for biceps, for me anyway, are strict incline curls, right? So they kind of feel like spider curls, where if you go like over the flat part of a preacher curl bench, and you can really get nasty extension. You'll see me when I do these also kind of cocking up the wrist a little bit. That's something I think maybe I saw like Charles Poliquin talk about one time, rest in peace, where you can kind of get just a little bit more of like a bicep squeeze when you curl it up like that with, of course, lighter weight. Not the only way to do it, but it's just kind of a unique pump. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get 15 as strict as I can get, and then I'm gonna do 15 deep breaths, then 15 more, 15, 15. Okay, so 15, three sets of 15 with 15 deep breaths in between. And if I can't get 15, I'm gonna breathe, I'm gonna get it. All right, so if I stop at like 12, I'm gonna take a deep breath, I'm just gonna force my way through them, and then like that, right? Like Widowmaker kind of sets, okay? There we go. Boom. Full extension. But you want to keep the tension. You don't want to just let it drop. Big bicep stretch. And really squeeze it. Flex hard at the top. That's 10. Fake. Oh gosh, those are awful. This, like, it traps like the metabolic waste in your arm, and it just starts to get, it almost makes you feel like claustrophobic, right? Because it's just your arms start getting like so like hard. That's the first set. I know by the third one, if it's anything like last week, I'm not gonna, I can't wait to get these things off, right? But the pump is sick, man. If you're doing like a day where you can do like tricep and bicep pairings, these make some nasty supersets. Just go light, okay? I can't stress that enough. So if you're going back and forth through like tricep extensions and curls, your arms will be, it'll be like something you've never felt before, right? You know what, let's go out with one more thing. I just want to get a nice little stretch at the end. I'll do like 25, and these are good for a warm up too. I'll step out and just do some strict pullovers, band pullovers. Just big stretch, focus on that stretch, lock the lats. You want to be all lat. Kind of drive with your triceps. So show the world your armpits, stretch, bam. All right, guys, so that's the medial epicondyle friendly back and biceps garage gym workout. Pretty good title, what do you think? Golfer's elbow friendly heavy rowing workout that you can do in your garage with a few things. I got more than a few things in here. Again, I'll put links to all the descriptions, relevant videos, links to the gear I used. I'll put a description of like the full breakdown of what I did. There's a million ways you can cut this up. It's all sorts of different exercises, but that should be enough to get you going. Love to get your feedback on anything you used for similar issues. And like and subscribe, and have a great day. Thank you.